Hi there again, this is Samir, and today I show you how to cache your particles in Effex 2.5. So we have our base scene that we have just built, our base liquid simulation scene. Very simple, just a sphere emitting some particle liquids and a flip solver taking care of solving the motion of fluid. And here we go, I just play it once. Very easy. Let me just switch the play mode here so we don't cycle, but it stops at the very end. Alright, taking a look into the effects scene is what we do now. Here we click on collect all cacheable nodes. It will fill our list with the cacheable nodes in our scene. We have the liquid dynamics here. I could turn off these buttons here, but actually they don't do anything for liquid dynamics, so don't worry about them. And as I want to cache my particles and not the velocity field, I remove it. In our particle group is now cached only, and the liquid particles as the blue dots are indicating. Only during rendering I turn it on, and in the cache mode it's already set to save. The particle file type, we use the Effex cache type, and of course the path that we need we set to user defined and click on select destination folder. This gives us a chance to select a folder where our stuff is cached. So all the particle data are cached to this liquid particles folder now. Alright. And of course I set a file name of your choice and I call it only particles. Well, that's actually about it. I can leave the rest as it is. And if I click on setup cache nodes, it will now create a pop cacher. Anyway, all the cache wizard settings and options, they don't matter for the actual caching process. Only the settings of the pop cacher are now taking place. The wizard is actually really only a setup tool. Now, last thing, I turn off only during rendering because I'm playing it in the editor and not in the picture viewer. And once this is done, we can go back into our Effex scene cache wizard. Let me just turn on the only during rendering for the pop cacher. And we set the cache mode now to load instead of save. And we can keep all the other settings. That's the great thing about this being a setup. So I click on setup cache nodes and it will create a new Effex scene, which has a lot of advantages. And it already only placed all the necessary nodes for loading the cache into this scene. And it also has set some other, or turned off some other settings like substeps. But that's actually it. And the settings in the particle group could still be used, but let's just scrub through our simulation like this. The cacher will load it accordingly when you scrub or when you play your simulation. So caching is very easy and straightforward in Effex 2.5. Let me create a velocity property which then is displayed in the editor. Gives a much better insight on the motion. Let's take a look at the pop cacher. We have some settings that are interesting to us, like the frame offset here. And surprise, surprise, yes, it gives us an offset for loading our sequence that we just cached. So if I set a value of -10, it will start at the 10th frame with the first frame of our cached sequence. Alright, but we also have another setting which is frame to load, and by default it's set to -1, and this will load each frame of our cache sequence successively. If I set a higher value like 35, it will only load this specific frame, so I can make a bullet time effect or something like that. And of course we have a reverse loading order, so it will run the last frame first and then play backwards. Also very, very useful. Alright, I hope this was helpful again and hope you have fun with playing with the cacher. And I hope to see you with me again in my next tutorial.